of us separated, and they hijacked our boat in international waters and took us to Ashdod. In Ashdod, they parked us right behind the Marmara and all the other boats. They again took us one by one off the boat. For me, I was personally strip searched on Ashdod port. They stole our equipment, none of which we have gotten back yet. They searched our luggage again, they interrogated us, they asked us to sign forms saying we had illegally entered Israel. All of this we refused to do. We had not done anything wrong. We were in international waters when we were taken. We refused to sign any testimonies to say otherwise, so we were put into prison. Obviously, men and women were separated in prison. We were searched again, our luggage was searched, we were interrogated. 3 days later, we were all sent home. We were all either repatriated or deported. But for the Irish and for the Malaysians on board, you know, the story doesn't finish there. The story of the Rachel Corrie actually started in a hotel called the Crown Plaza in a small town in Ireland, which is where she was auctioned. The next time the Irish and the Malaysians met was in a hotel called the Crown Plaza again, this time in Malaysia. The Irish on board the boat were very, and are very, very proud to have worked with the Malaysians on board, and we plan to do so again. We will continue in a coalition of Irish and Malaysians to break the siege in Gaza, and we shall do so with the same determination, the same dignity that the Rachel Corrie did on this trip, and that every single boat in the Freedom Flotilla showed as they tried to break the challenge, or to challenge the siege on Gaza. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jenny. From the feedback I got from our team of Malaysians on board the Rachel Corrie, all said that their Irish comrades were also very strong in supporting them, and they felt such strong camaraderie, especially when all of you were held in Ashdod in the jail that they had set up specially for you. And although you had diplomatic ties with Israel and you could at any time leave the place, you stayed on and kept our people company, and that basically gave them all the conviction to carry on, and they felt nothing but much love from friends from Ireland. Thank you very much for that. Next is Mr. Dennis Holliday, and he has his own perspective, I assume, and he was also on board Rachel Corrie. Please, Dennis.
Thank you, Dato Makriz. Puan Puan dan Tuan Tuan, Salamat Pagi. As able seaman Jenny Graham has shown, the Rachel Corrie, the cargo ship, was a symbol of hope for change. She provided an opportunity to break the stranglehold, the siege of Israel. Assisted, unfortunately, by Egypt, on the people and the Palestinians of Gaza, the victims of global politics, United Nations Security Council corruption, the failure of the EU and the Arab community to stand up, to be active, to be counted, as Israel, in close partnership with America, imposed slow genocide. Slow genocide is the term that our missing Irish friend, Mairead Maguire, Nobel Peace Prize winner, likes to use in terms of the situation in Gaza. The Rachel Corrie journey was an extraordinary experience of cooperation, of friendship, and rough seas and warships and gunships and threats of violence, piracy, and finally hijacking in international waters off the coast of Gaza. Despite the horrors of the brutal Israeli massacre of 31 May, during which 9 Turkish friends and colleagues were murdered, there was no time on board the Rachel Corrie for fear, because we were so seething with outrage and anger at the Israeli killings of our Turkish friends and activists. And the arrogance of boarding the Rachel Corrie herself, and under cover of heavy weapons, dragging us to Ashdod, the Israeli port, which we had no desire, of course, to enter, gave us the courage to stand up and be ourselves and face the danger that these Israeli troops presented. Our anger and outrage was fed by attempts to humiliate us, as our colleague from Malaysia has explained, of course, with his experience, which was much, much worse than ours. Humiliate us, intimidate us. And these young thugs, frankly, these Israeli troops were victims themselves, are victims themselves, of Israeli propaganda, conscription, of every teenage boy and girl into the military. I mean, can you imagine here in Malaysia if your sons and daughters were being conscripted? It's hard to visualize. They looked frightened, even as they acted towards us with aggression. Our incarceration by Israel was an invaluable close-up experience and look at the injustice, the violence on peacekeeping, peacemaking, intimidation, that of course failed. But it was an eye-opening experience to the suffering of the Palestinian families in the camps of Lebanon, the West Bank, and of course Gaza itself, driven from their homes by the UK and the United Nations, and broken but not defeated by the Americans and Israelis, supported by EU countries, and sadly the Egyptian regime. For the funding of the Rachel Corrie, I want to thank the people of Malaysia who gave from their hearts, and especially I want to thank Tun Mahathir and Tun Siti, who, as Jenny explained, came to Cyprus last July and began this extraordinary process. I would also like to thank Datin Seri Rosma Mansour, the wife of the Prime Minister, of course, who raised also large amounts of ringgit for this purpose. Thank you all very much. To sail with the courageous Malaysian team of 6, listed in the program, I believe, including a journalist, TV team, and a member of Parliament, quite extraordinary people. It was a pleasure for us 5 Irish activists to work with them. It was a pleasure. It was an honour. And let me say, Malaysia was very well and bravely represented by the Malaysian team. You can all be extremely proud of your Malaysians as they took on this task vis-à-vis Israel and the Gaza genocide. Yes, they do. Now today we're witnessing both civil society here in Malaysia supporting this endeavour in terms of the Gaza people, and we're also seeing government support to end the siege of Gaza and address the tragedy of daily life that the Palestinians face. And I want to congratulate Malaysia on bringing together both civil society and government to this very important task, something which the rest of us are struggling to do. I want to take a look, if I may, at the future. The US has failed the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, and has exploited and been exploited, as Tun Mahathir explained early this morning, by Israel. America can make, frankly, no useful contribution to peace in the Middle East. Withdrawal totally, in my view, would be the best solution. Let's just agree that they sell them oil, but deny them arms, weapons sales, access to policy, and their pursuit of power at any price, including the killing of millions, the rape and pillage, and the cultural and social genocide in Iraq, and what we may see or are seeing in Afghanistan, and which we may see, sadly, even in Iran, and we've seen, of course, in Palestine. So the United States, in my view, has no further useful contribution to make at all to the peace endeavour that we all seek. To terminate blind support for Israel's aggression on Palestine, that would be the best gesture that Mr. Obama could possibly make, and do so quickly in the interests of all of us. The UK, the original